Good morning. Well, this is officially going to be my last video in this apartment. I did say yes to the new apartment that I viewed last week, and I have a lease signed. I have not put, I put half of the deposit down. I still haven't paid the full deposit and like all the rest of that. I'm waiting to hear from the management company, which has been taking a really, really long time and is one of the reasons why I was starting to kind of doubt this whole process. But I'm also doing this in a Mercury retrograde cycle, which I found the apartment literally on the day Mercury went retrograde. And this whole cycle has just been so much Mercury retrograde. Like, I could give you so many examples of all the things that have had to happen like in 2 or 3 extra steps than they needed to, just to kind of get all of this going. But I will be leaving. I can't really believe it. It feels, I have so many feelings, of course, because this apartment is like, I love this place, and this is a sanctuary for me. It's a place that it's probably my favorite place I've ever lived. And it's always harder to leave places when you love them still. Like, it's harder to leave relationships when you still love the person, but you know that it is time to go. So it's really been a huge change for me as far as like, okay, I know I have to leave, but it's still hard to do it. And so I'm going through all of those kind of feelings. And yeah, I get the keys tomorrow, which is literally the astrological new year. Mercury goes retrograde and Spring Equinox all on that day. And this has all been so, like, this whole process, I kind of want to share with you some of the highlights so that you understand how reading energy works for me, because this is something that I just knew the whole time was happening. Because so basically, like, the beginning of this all happening was back in November of 2024. And I had already lived in this apartment for 2 years. And all of a sudden, the management company just changed, which is common. But when that happened, I got the email from the new management company, and I could feel that person's energy. I can feel energy through email. I can feel energy through just looking at a person's photo. Like, I'm somebody who, when I have a friend or something that is like dating a new person or has like something new going on in their life, or they're choosing an animal, like a companion animal or something like that, they will send me the photo, and I can read the energy of that animal, of that person, and just give them like it's like a psychic download about all the things that are coming through from that person, just their photo. I don't even have to see them moving or speaking or anything like that. I don't even have to see them. Like, I can just get an email like I did with this management company. And just from receiving the email from him, the new person who started managing, I had a pit in my stomach, because I knew what type of energy he would then start drawing into the building. Like, that's how it happens when, there's certain grocery stores, even though they can be the same chain of grocery store, certain grocery stores feel a certain way because of it's like certain neighborhoods feel a certain way. Energy attracts energy. So when he took over, I knew that was the beginning of me leaving, because I get moved around a lot. Like, I'm one of these people who I have all these different missions and kind of go around and have, now the work has to be done in this place. And once that work is complete, I go on to the next place. And I don't always love it, like, for sure. I get settled, I get fixed in a place, and this one especially has been really hard for me to leave. based on like the fact that this is the last place I've lived with my now deceased soul dog who died in this apartment. So, but I knew, and the universe will always do it like in a very gentle way. Like it's, for the most part, like, and I pay attention, okay, new management, new energy is going to start coming in. I bet this is the shift out of this place for me. And I already knew that right then. Well, some, time had gone by and I started to see what types of energies were being brought into the building. And I was like, yeah, it's, and people in my life, when I tell them that, like when I say, yeah, his energy is going to start attracting, certain energies, people don't understand what I'm saying. Like, and that's one of the hardest parts about being a person who can read energy and who has psychic abilities, is that people will be like, oh, well, maybe it'll just be, just fine and nothing will, and it's like, yeah, that's possible, but I can guarantee you what's going to happen because I know this about myself and I've practiced it for so long now that, like, if you have those abilities, I think you probably understand what I mean. You cannot wait for other people to validate you because they probably never will until way down the line, like maybe even years later when something happens and then they go, oh, that's what Kara was saying, like way back in the, a few years prior, and that's how I've started learning to trust that part of myself. So what really kind of then made it be very clear that I was leaving was I started feeling this. I had a business for 10 years, and I started feeling last year this, I couldn't do it anymore. Like I knew it was time to change, and I didn't know why I knew, I just knew it. So I closed that business, and with nothing else backed up other than just like knowing I wanted to start doing more energy reading and sharing these videos, and I've started doing that since that time. And then 2 weeks after I closed my business and felt this huge shift of energy, my soul dog died. And so it's like I almost had this feeling of, I bet I was being guided to close my business so that I could be in the grief aftermath of losing my soul dog, which I have been for the last 9 months, and could feel like the old world, my previous life leaving and new things beginning, which is very astrologically aligned right now. So many of us are going through not just little like changes in our lives, gigantic life transformations. Old person almost doesn't even exist anymore, and new person has just started being born, which is so uncomfortable because we don't know what that's going to look like. So then it was in October, so my soul dog died in June. I had all this time to grieve. In October, I had a set of neighbors move in below me, and I remember it was nighttime. I was in my bed, and I just had this feeling wash over me. I felt this energy wash over me, and I was like, what is that feeling? Like, what am I feeling right now? And I got up and I looked out my front window, and I couldn't see anything, and I couldn't even see them. I couldn't see their car. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel them. I could feel their energy. And right in that moment, I knew. I was like, oh no, this is going to be not good. It's just not going to be good. I can feel it. And fast forward to where we are today, I was right. And it was, see, like when I talk about this stuff, I don't want to demonize people, and I don't want to make people, it's like, that's not what I'm doing. It is just true that their energy and my energy are very incompatible. I've been talking about it on the channel, but I haven't been sharing really everything that's been happening. You know, all I've said is that they have two very big dogs that are constantly barking at the window, which I've had to complain to management 6 different times about. And, you know, with saying that, like, that part of leaving, it's so important to me because I was like, well, what did I even complain to management for then if I'm the one that's going to be leaving? But I know that that was like part of what my soul needed to work through, because in the past when disruptions have happened and people's bad energy, like, I would just absorb it and just let it happen and not say anything. And so I know that my soul needed me to go into that part of this whole experience, to speak up, to say no, to not, you know, be just like compliant and let it all happen. So yeah, I went through the very, very, very uncomfortable process of having to talk to the authority of the building 6 different times to say that this isn't okay, and I had to keep tracking, and it's just, yeah, it's been just crazy. And that's not the only thing that's happened with, you know, there's been also like screaming fights and slamming and like just lots of very nervous system disrupting things that I don't feel safe. I don't even feel safe like to walk up the building most of the time. If I'm afraid I'm going to run into them. Like, it's, you know, once all that kind of stuff started happening, I was getting a very clear message that, like, I have to go. It's time for me to go. You know, it's time for me to leave. I've done everything that I can. And so the day Mercury went retrograde, which was 3 weeks ago, I remember I came home. I had gone out to the gym in the morning, and I came home and the dogs were barking nonstop. Like, I'm not talking about like little like beep, beep, beep. It's okay. It's like a Rottweiler and a Pit Bull, which I have nothing against these breeds, but they're extremely powerful breeds. And when they're bored and they're frustrated and they're guarding the window, and the window's right there, like, really intense, you know, it's really intense. I could not hear myself even think, it was so loud. And it was for hours. It was like maybe every 1 to 2 minutes for hours. So it was like, what the hell is happening? It, you know, couldn't have been a louder message for me, basically, from the universe. But that day that Mercury went retrograde, I said, I heard the dogs barking again, and I was like pissed. You know, I just was like, because that's one of the ways that my nervous system responds to being afraid, is that I get really angry and I can get into like a meltdown from just feeling like the overwhelm, and I don't soften right away. I lash out right away. But I never lash out to, like, when I'm writing these emails to management and stuff like that, I'm extremely composed. I don't send the email right when I'm feeling that way. I just write it so that I can get it out and then process it and see, you know, if I want to send it. I wrote this email out, basically asking them, like, what are the next steps? Like, it's been like 6 times, you know, since I've said something, and I just need to understand, like, what's going to happen next so that I can take care of myself, because I can't live in this anymore. Like, it's not livable. And then I just heard something say, like, stop, don't send the email right now, put your phone down. So I did. And I went over to my cards, these cards, and I asked the universe to send me a message about what I should do. Should I send the email? What should I do? Well, sure enough, I pulled the surrender card. And I said, all right, I'm not going to send it. I surrender. And I knew what that meant, you know, surrender to, this is not your home anymore, which I've been fighting, because I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. This means so much to me. This place means so much to me. Anyway, yeah. So I said, all right, I'm not going to send the email. I sat down on my bed. I opened up Pad Mapper and refreshed it. And the first apartment that came up was this one I'm moving into. And it's in my favorite neighborhood, the neighborhood I've always wanted to live in since I've moved here. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, it was my price range. It's a 1 bedroom compared to my studio. Like there's, there's certain things about it that aren't perfect. Like I definitely have, it's, I won't get into all that right now, but no place is ever perfect. I'll say that. But when that happened, it was an immediate, like, this is it. I know it's it. I know it is going to be the place that I'm living. So I applied to it right away, and that was 2 weeks ago. That was the day Mercury went retrograde. Then we had the eclipse. On the eclipse day, that was when my application started getting processed. Then we had Venus enter Aries. That was the day that I got approved. And so like, that's why I follow astrology so closely as well, because it really is sometimes that accurate. Like it is sometimes like, and I'm getting my keys the day Mercury goes direct. And not only the Mercury direct and Mercury retrograde, but it's also hitting the North Node, which is the node of fate, which is what you're moving towards. So that is like kind of, I just wanted to give a general sort of storyline, because these are the things I think that we all can tap into, like, but a lot of times would just override it. And because like, it sounds crazy to a lot of people that I heard something tell me to stop, and then I went over and I pulled a card, and the card was surrender, and I said okay, and I went on my phone, and the first thing that popped up was my apartment that I'm moving into. It's like hard for people to trust that, because it happens to them and we don't always trust that part of ourselves. Like I could have not listened to the part of me that was saying stop the email, don't send it, and sent the email, and then gone into all the chaos that would have come with sending the email, which would have probably inevitably had led me to the same sort of conclusion that I'm moving out, of this apartment. But I think that just with practice and experience and understanding, like my relationship to this unseen world that so many people don't have a relationship to, like it's why I'm so close to animals, it's why I'm so close to nature, it's why nonverbal communication means so much more to me and makes so much more sense to me than like talking to people with words, because I experience energy in such a profound way, and I can use it to map out what's happening in my life. And so that is the story basically. And I am also this whole way saying to the universe, if this isn't right for me, block it, don't let me move forward with it. Otherwise I'm going to keep moving forward with it unless something really crazy were to happen. Like let's say, I haven't put my full deposit and all the rest of the money for the rent and everything like that. Like let's say they come back to me and something, I've already signed the lease, but it's always possible that all of a sudden, Mercury retrograde has been involved. So they could come back and say something went wrong with the blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately we can't move forward. Like that could happen. And that wouldn't mean that any of my reading has been incorrect. It just means that this is part of a larger story that my soul is needing to experience to learn something from. It's not that like every time we listen to the guidance and we take a step towards the guidance, sometimes we have to go into it to learn something, and then we're actually being pushed this way now into it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it comes with practice. We don't always get it right. Like sometimes we do choose from fear, thinking it's intuition. Sometimes, we think we're crazy and we don't let ourselves listen to our intuition. I think that's more common than most other interpretations of it, because, we are not in a society that encourages and and believes and supports in that intuitive part of who we are. And that's what I keep trying to like share on this channel. And it is hard. It's hard to show how I do energy readings, like until I'm with a person and we're working together. Like the only people I feel like in my life that have actually really gotten to see it work in my life are partners. And a lot of times I'm with partners who are people who don't believe in that type of unseen world stuff or astrology or anything like that. But when they see all the stuff that happens in my life, like they just cannot believe, like, you have a gift, like there's something going on, you're psychic. There's like, I've never seen so many intense synchronicities happen to a person. I've never seen somebody be able to predict things happening. And so yeah, being on this channel is just one way for me to kind of begin really sharing that and showing it, because I don't think I'm alone in that. I think there are a lot of people who are feeling this like awakening of the intuitive self and not exactly sure how to follow it and trust it. And so that is just one way that it's come about in my life. So I will not be here next week. If I'm not here next week, that means I'm moving. That means the universe didn't block me and I'm going ahead into my new apartment. If I'm here next week, I will tell you why. Or I might be here next week if I wake up suddenly in the new place with all my crap scattered everywhere and decide I have to speak, to the camera. So, yeah, that's the story. I'll just do a couple of quick card pulls for the spring equinox and new energy. I mean, there's so much new that's developing, and I can't be the only one feeling this. I can't be the only one having these huge transformations. And I know I'm not. So my apartment, and then there's 2 more down the way, they both just moved out. I had no idea. And all of a sudden, during this whole process, this last week, both apartments moved out. So it is like a whole momentum push forward, change, which is common in spring. Spring is that, renewal of life. Okay, what are we doing here? Inspiration, new views, new horizons. I'm excited. I'm so nervous too. I'm so nervous. There's so much to do. Like moving is so much, but I know my grief is ready to have a new container. I think that's a huge part of, I'm gonna pull one of these. A huge part of this shift for me is like, I actually feel like I need a different environment. My grief needs like the next step, the next way forward from, like, this has been a sanctuary for me, but it's also become sort of like a grief bunker after my dog died, where it's just, the energy is ready to be let go of. And man, there's so many things that have happened with that I could talk about. And my connection to my dog and how I'm following her guidance. She's leading me forward in this. And there's so many things that have happened that make it feel less like I'm leaving her here and more like she's guiding me forward and I'm following her guidance. And that is so comforting. But yeah, I did have to really grieve a lot of days and memories, and just, we had this was a great last place to live with her. Oh, love matters. Card number 43 for the last little closeout of this video. Okay. The way you handle things is important. There will always be many challenges and life lessons, as that is part of this experience. Choose to learn from your encounters. Get your heart ready to receive and allow for the various emotions you may be feeling. Consider what makes you happy. It is time for you to allow yourself a day of enjoyment. Love who you are and be willing to give and receive love unconditionally. That was perfect. All right. Well, wish me luck on my move. And I will, if I don't see you next week, I will definitely see you the following week. And happy spring. I'll see you guys soon.